Hello, welcome to the A to Z YouTube channel. My name is Toby Allen and I am the A in A to Z, so that puts me in charge of songwriting, producing and engineering when it comes to making a record. And so today we're going to be looking at the brand new plugin from ML Sound Lab called Mikko2. If you're familiar with ML Sound Lab, they already had the Mikko1, which was a cab simulator. So it would just focus, when it comes to the guitar tone, focus on just the cabinet section of your guitar tone. ML Sound Lab also do IRs, and they also do the amp sims themselves, which have the Mikko engine built into them. So you can actually move the mics around and stuff on the cabinet. So you get like a selection of different cabinets with each of the amp plugins. But this one here allows you to load up any of the cabs that are available. So if I'm going to click on this button up here, you can see there are a very large number of cabinets available in this one, and I've got all of those loaded up today. Mikko is a bit of a wizard when it comes to impulse responses and cabinets, captures and all that other kind of fun stuff. So today we're going to focus particularly on the features and how I would go about building a tone using this. I don't think we can go through all of the cabinets because, as I said, there's a huge number of cabinets. You can scroll on here and wow, there are a ridiculous amount of cabinets available. You've also got several microphones on each of those cabinets as well. This tone I'm using right here, this is one I made which is kind of geared towards a kind of 80s thrash kind of sound with a Marshall. We are not using the Marshall today, we're using my trusty EVH 5153 50 watt 6L6. We're on the blue channel, you can see there what the knobs are at right now. We've got some pedals getting involved as well. We've got the Horizon Devices Precision Drive and the Spectre Media Noise Gate. That's in the effects loop, keeping everything nice and quiet. And that's what we're going through into the two notes torpedo captor 8 ohm, and that is going straight into my interface, which is going straight into this. So let's have a look at the actual features. First off you've got over here the speaker with the microphones on it, and you can drag the microphones around and you can actually drag them off the side and they will disappear as well. You can also use either a scroll wheel or hold shift control alt, either, not all at once, but one of those, and you can move the microphone backwards and forwards as well. As well as doing that, you can actually control them down here, so you can control the volume of each microphone. So if you've got multiple microphones, you can adjust the balance between them by moving this up and down. You can choose the position of the microphone relative to the cap and the edge with this dial. You can choose whereabouts on the speaker it's pointed at with this one. You can also move the distance this way, and you can also move the tilt all the way to 90 degrees, which is kind of very excessive. Listen to this. That sounds kind of very weird. I'm sure there's going to be an instance where that would be really useful, but I suppose it kind of almost gives you a bit of a cab in the room kind of sound to it. It's kind of cool. The latency and phase we'll come back to once I've put some multiple microphones on, and then you've also got the panning here as well. So yeah. You've got a plus button here for adding more microphones, and then you have the EQ part here. Now, what you probably may or may not have noticed, when I'm moving this around, the EQ actually gives you almost an analyzer of what that cabinet sound is generating. Kind of, because a cabinet is kind of just a really fancy EQ curve going after an amp head to give it that usable sound. So you can see over there on the side that the EQ is being moved as we move the microphone around. So what I'm going to do is we're first off going to turn the EQ off because at the moment it's doing a high pass and low pass. I just want to hear the raw microphone. We're going to come up with a tone, and what I'm going to do is do my usual trick where I'm going to go for something very extremely bright and something very extremely dark, and then combine the two of them to get a very balanced kind of sound. So for the bright tone, I'm going to use the Mofo V30. This is a Marshall Mode 4, which is a cabinet I own. It's the V30 from 2003. Mine, I've got a variety of speakers in, but I've got a V30 in there from 1995, so it's not exactly the same as the tone I'm getting with my own cab, but it's definitely similar vein and something I'm quite familiar with. So let's move that around first. Very bright, almost kind of harsh actually, but that's what I'm going for. So we will put the second microphone on and then mute the first one. Second microphone, we're going to go with the EVH, which has got a bit more kind of girth to it, and the M421 seems to add a bit of low end energy to it as well. You can see here what that curve is doing. That's quite beefy down there. So yeah, actually with the 7B, that is very sort of deep. So we put them both together. Just going to bring this one down a tiny bit, which is the 7B. So that sounds quite a bit more balanced than either one of them does on its own. And what's interesting is what we can also do is obviously balance with the mix dial here, but we can also adjust the phase relationship between them as well. So if we invert the polarity of the phase on the 7B, that gets really nasty. But what you can do is reverse it. Find the really nasty frequencies. Then reverse it back. Or you can just do it without reversing it first, so. Now what I feel like I could do with is a little bit more kind of mid-rangey, kind of this got quite a scoop going on here. We could turn the EQ on and then just like boost it here, like this. But what I'd rather do is add another microphone. Obviously in real life you kind of want to be very careful with adding more microphones because of phase relationship and stuff, but with this tool you can do quite a bit to get things a bit more controlled. So let's go with the orange 4x12. How does that sound? Yeah, that's the kind of sound I want. Too much. I'll bring the volume of that down a little bit. Put it all together. So this is the raw without the EQ on. And then with the EQ, so you can hear that's just doing a little bit of low pass, a little bit of high pass. What I'm also going to do is I really like a bit of 5K in my guitars. So let's bring that up to 5150. That sounds like a good frequency to boost. Then you can use the scroll wheel on your mouse to adjust the Q. You can see the EQ number there changing as well, and the EQ curve changing as you do it. And then with it off, with it on, that's really mean. And if you want to go a bit more genty, well, what we got here, we can put a bit of 1K in. Let's bring that up and bring that Q down. Turn that off. I'm actually thinking that 5K is a little bit much. Let's bring it down just a tiny bit. Yeah, and then what some people like doing is putting a bit of 8K in as well. So let's try a bit of that. You can right click on these as well to turn them on and off, just to hear how the difference is sounding. I actually like that. High pass I'm going to bring up just a tiny bit, so there, where are we at now with that? That's 69. Yeah, I like that. And then let's just give a little bit of boost. This is A is a shelf. Let's give it a little bit of a boost around here. Let's see how that sounds. No, that's too much. But I think overall there we've got a tone that I'm happy with. I'm just going to bring the 7B down a little bit. Now bring it back up. Then what I'm also going to do to try moving the latency on the orange 421. And there we go. I think I have a very usable sound. And what's really cool as well is we can export the IR to WAV, so I can use that in my personal projects, either as an impulse response in a loader, or I can put that into a plugin that has an IR loader built in. If I had something like Helix or Camper or Axe Effects or any of the other stuff, then I could load that into there as well to use for live stuff. So it's really cool. What you can also do is you can save your presets, and actually you can save as, and you can also open up your preset directory, so you can share your presets with other Mikko2 users. And there you go. So I just wanted to run through a couple of the features on this one, and didn't want to go too extensive looking into all of the stuff that's on here, because I could literally spend hours going through all of the speakers and all of the microphones and everything. So what do you think of this one? I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it really shines with real amps, but of course it works great with Sims as well. If you want to have a bit more control or a bit more of your own flavour to put onto an amp sim, rather than just using a static IR, which you can't adjust or change, then that's really cool. But of course there's still a place for IRs, because if you want something that's going to be really quick and someone else has put a lot of work into, and you can then rely on their expertise, someone like Mikko or Jens Bogren making some very, very fantastic impulse responses, then yeah, that's obviously a great. But if you like to be able to tweak and you're not too afraid of going into a rabbit hole of option paralysis, then something like this is great. And what I think actually has really helped me, the reason why I got Mikko in the first place, the first Mikko, was I wanted to be able to silently get to learn what positions I like on miking up a cabinet, so that when I come to actually miking up a real cabinet, then I've had a bit of practice actually moving the microphone around and putting them into a position and the angle and stuff I like, and using the particular models of microphones and stuff I like. So from that perspective, it's very, very useful as well. What you can also do is you can have different settings and presets and stuff for different parts of songs as well. So if you wanted like a part of the song where you've only got one microphone, then you could, and you come in like the other two microphones when the chorus hits or something, then you've got more options to make a song more dynamic as well. So I have used this on some reamps for a client, and yeah, everyone was very happy with how it sounded, so that's really cool. I don't think that's been released yet, so in fact it hasn't, because the record is still being worked on. But yeah, it's going to be great to hear that when it's finished. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. If you're using a load box and a actual head, what do you normally use? Do you normally use just like an impulse response, or do you use like a cabinet simulator like this one, or like the one in Amp Hub or something? Yeah, I'd love to hear what you think and whether you're going to be trying this out. Just want to hear all your thoughts and let me know what you think. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe buttons because they're evil and they need to be whipped. So, and we'll see you next time.